years. I can have some ideas. I want to first talk about the things that are specific sector. So, in my view, you have the love for the country, and you have patriotism, which is very important. As was said already, everyone is in the government. No, not everyone, but you need a very strong private sector. But yes, in the sense of patriotism and love of the country, it's important, and it exists. And you have the vision. The vision is here, it's paved by the president. You have the agendas, the different agendas, the goals. You have, of course, the process, which is the Mihigo. You have the process of putting goals and then looking at the establishment of it. You have the way forward. You have the Mushichirano and other tools that you use, homegrown solutions. It's amazing. You have homegrown solutions, which are a good base for investment, a good base for the economy. What we don't have, we have the Bible, but it's not relevant today so much. But you have homegrown solutions, and it's good that you use it. And basic infrastructure. And when I say basic infrastructure, I mean also in the sense of regulation, in the sense of rules, of laws. Parliament is doing a lot to prepare a basic infrastructure for investment and other economic growth. And then what do we need to invest in? What is the most urgent, in my view? And when I think about urgency, I speak about resilience, where we should do a lot in order to be resilient, and also economic growth. Of course, we cannot leave the cake as small as it is now, because it's too small. So let's see what we can do and invest in order to make the cake bigger. And it's not agriculture. Agriculture is the fourth issue which I will talk about, because we want to be resilient in food. Resilience in food security. It's so important. Even now, you see it in the recent year, in the case of wars, wherever it is in the world, how it affects countries. We, in Israel, left behind the agriculture. When we were established 75 years ago, it was about 80% of the economy. Now it's 3%. And we don't have enough food, so we import, which is not good. So of course we should do agriculture, but let's leave it to the end. The first and foremost, in my view, is infrastructure and transportation. And by that I mean roads, and roads within the cities, because it will be very difficult to grow with the traffic jams that you already have. And roads between and beyond, between the cities and beyond the country. For that, of course, train will be very good, and of course, big roads. Now, what does it mean? It means the government will not be able to do it, because there is no money. Of course, you need either BOT or PPP to bring companies and to let it have the road, to let it have the train, and to, as people use it, to pay. That's the only way to be bigger in this sense. The second is minerals and hydrocarbons. Of course, in the world, we tend not to talk about now about hydrocarbons, and we prefer to talk about renewable energy. But I think it's still needed here, because you import so much oil. In order to have oil, to have benzene, to have solar, to have, of course, LPG for cooking. Everything is imported. It's very, very expensive. I don't know how much, but probably many percents of the budget is allocated to buy and to import these products. In order to overcome this, you need to invest in minerals and in hydrocarbons. And you do invest, but you can do more. And minerals, I mean now really extracting minerals and also refining it, in order not to sell the Chinese for $60 1 kilo of dust, but to sell China for $600 or even more the refined minerals which are needed, the precious minerals, the 3Ts, etc. Now I want to share with you for that an experience we had in Israel. So we always complain that Moses brought us to the wrong place, which is no oil, no gas, nothing. However, in year 2009 and 2010, we found a lot of gas. We have so much gas that we don't need 90% of it, and it's still growing. How did we find so much gas in the sea? Because we opened the sea for foreign companies. The government stopped trying to find anything, not oil and not gas. We just opened the sea, we opened tenders, companies came. There was a medium-range American company which came and found 1,000 billion cubic meters. For your proportion, we use 10 billion cubic meters a year. We found 1,000. We use 10 for 80% of our electricity. So today, 80% of our electricity is from the 10 BCM, 10 out of 1,000 that we found. And so most of our electricity today is our own gas. How did we do it? We just let the companies come. We promised them not to enter to their pockets. Just after the return of investment, which is there already, because it was 2010 that we found the gas. Production started in 2014. Gas into the country started in 2014, and now, after 7-8 years, there is the finish of the ROI, and now we get also to open our wealth fund. Because we have so much money from the gas, from the profits, from the percentage, the 10% that we take from the profit is now $1 billion a year. But we didn't take any tax for 8 years, nothing. They just came, bought some information, data for $50,000, and that's it. Now they give the government $1 billion a year as a percentage from the profit. The percentage will go higher. So what I suggest is minerals and hydrocarbons but bring investors and leave their pockets for a while. Just don't tax them. Let them work, and they will find, and they will do good. The third sector, of course, is tourism and hospitality, because this is now 50% of your GDP. So this is needed, and of course, in this case, also a good financial plan is needed, and companies will come, and they are coming, but they can come even more. And the last but not least, and I mentioned, is agriculture. And it's a challenge to invest in agriculture, for sure, because of even topography of the country. You have hills, you have 1,000 hills. Yes, you have millions miles, but it doesn't have much. But 1,000 hills is a challenge, because for hills, mechanism is a challenge. For the valleys, it's a challenge because of the water, etc. It's a challenging topography in this country for agriculture, of course, and moreover we have the climate change. So what is needed, of course, in order to overcome climate change is irrigation, which we do, and my country is covered with irrigation, because not only climate change, but we live in the desert. For this also you need a good financial plan, because people cannot just come and put you irrigation. But we have Amb.Ron, the Israeli company, which invested $60 million, the government money, in the east, and they have now plots with irrigation, which is very good, and they are starting putting it as a tender. So I believe that investment start in Rwanda, because this is the place for POC, to try things, to prove the concepts, and it's easy to register, it's easy to do business. However, RDB needs to do better in aftercare, and when after company come and then they need to do more. But if we succeed here, I believe we can succeed in the whole continent, and this is the continent of the future. All the rest of the continents are continents of the past. us. It's Europe, it's America. This is the continent of the future, and we have to start to grow. Because Rwanda is the place for proof of concept. Last but not least, I want to mention one thing. Leaving all these sectors for the private sector, for investors, the government needs to do, in addition to security from the taxpayer, of course the need to security is immensely important, but the other thing is education. And in order to achieve all the things you want to achieve, and to use local manpower in minerals, in industry, in tourism, in health, in everything, you need a good cadre of people, and education is a thing that the government needs to invest. And if investors from the outside can help, it will be very good. Thank you very much.